Ends, kill count, let's go. So Halloween night comes around and this all right, well, watch this, and then right afterwards, let's go get into spoilers, and wait for people to come in. Corey guy's babysitting the kid, and he's a pretty shitty babysitter. You have one job: make sure whoever you're babysitting doesn't get hurt or die, and you messed that up. I get it. It was an accident, but all right, come on, man. What? You need a three-story house for just the three of you? Everybody gets their own floor of the house? This messes up Corey pretty good, dude, and the whole town sort of blames him for it. Even the marching band is picking on him, and marching bands are a bunch of nerds. But you know what? He starts to date Allison, who's pretty fine in this movie, and rocking out to Dead Kennedys. I love it. Meanwhile, during the 4 year time jump, Lori bought a house. Now she celebrates Halloween. And during these 4 years, she was sort of listening to police scanners like she's Spider Man, going out to these different murders and such and suicides and seeing, like, oh, is Michael actually back? And then she just went, nah, dude, I'm sort of over it. Corey finds himself in the sewer, and guess who's down there? What? Michael's been way down there? I don't know how long. Like Pennywise the Clown, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And when he grabbed him, he sort of put him in like a vampire trance. Because as soon as he got out of the sewer, he already killed a homeless guy. But you know what? That guy was sort of asking for it, sort of self-defense. Like, get out of my face, buddy. Lori doesn't like the fact that Allison is dating Corey. But come on, man, that doesn't work, right? Allison likes the bad boys. He rides a motorcycle and everything. She loves it. Corey keeps going back to where Michael hangs out, but this time he's actually followed by one of Allison's ex-boyfriends who I guess is a cop and everything. And this is actually a trap set up by him so Michael can kill again. Because I guess Michael is so injured after that last movie, he needs to kill to sort of like power up himself. It's almost sort of like Popeye with the spinach. He seems almost like he could. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Yeah, I had to add those stabbing noises, and yeah, he sort of did power up. He was like, I guess that's how he gets his strength. So very cool. Barely move. It's like, oh man, he has not hit the gym in 4 years, or a little bit of ring rust. Or the bum actually says he's been killing a couple of people, but maybe he needs a good like stabbing like that to actually to gather some health points. They actually team up on like another kill. Like they go, hey man, let's get out of the sewers and do like a father son hunting trip and everything like that. Because they actually double teamed what Allison's boss and her coworker. And you see, like, what the hell, dude? Corey's wearing the scarecrow mask. And it's like Corey accidentally gets his hand stuck. And it's like, rule number one, kid, don't get yourself locked outside. And it seems like Michael's pretty strong. He got his strength back if he can lift his girl up with one hand and bring back like one of his old school kills, like the Bob kill from part one. And it's not a complete Bob tribute kill unless you do the head tilt. There you go. And this is great. This is almost like Corey actually being more like Mark in Fear. Like, she has me now. Like, oh man, he's going full on psycho, having the speech with Lori. And boom, dude, you're crazy. She was never even there. And this is so brazen of Corey, dude. Corey straight up goes in this sewer, out wrestles Michael Myers, and takes his mask. I guess he didn't want to wear the scarecrow mask. He's like, give me that mask to me. And dude, that boy had some squabbles too. Like maybe he was on the wrestling team or something. Or Michael didn't go full force with it. It's almost like wrestling your dad is like, all right, fine, I'll let you win a little bit. And this scene straight out of Christine where they all get their comeuppance. Corey's bullies from the beginning are all getting theirs, dude. So the driver gets killed first, and then the tow truck starts up. Oh, this is all their fault too. They broke and entered and they were boo ran that girl over. They were trying to wreck his bike and everything. Went into this guy's property. And you could sort of tell by how quick this guy moving. You're like, oh man, dude, it looks like Corey's actually doing a pretty good job as Michael. Maybe sort of like the Max actually gives him like some super strength too. The junkyard is actually owned by his stepdad, who actually sees him right there like, Corey, what the hell are you doing? Damn, he sort of took a bullet for Corey and everything. But, he gave that guy his gun, so it's sort of on you for doing that. Don't give a stranger a gun. Then the bullies actually know, it's like, oh no, they're dead. Boom, knocks this guy out. Then, oh man, gets the torch to the. That's one of the better kills, dude, but they need to like extend it or something. It's sort of out of focus. Like, all right. But the DJ kill is actually like it's probably the best kill of the movie. But that blowtorch, I was watching that with a welder the other day, and they're like, "Yeah, dude, that would take your head right off." The mouth. I guess after Corey finished defeating all his bullies in one false swoop, I guess he went, you know what else bullies me? My mother. Let me go visit her. She was really overbearing in a couple of scenes. It's like in one scene, actually slapped and kissed him. So then she had to go. Corey settling all his grudges and everything. He's like, oh yeah, that DJ talked a little shit to me and Allison. Darcy, the mailbag lady, actually gets killed in the background here, if you notice. See, look at that. It's sort of blurry, but that's a death. And first of all, they were playing the cramps throughout this whole scene, which I love. And now I'm convinced that he does have Michael Myers' strength because of that mask. Because just beating his face a couple of times like that on the turntable actually swelled up that guy's face enough, cut off his tongue, and you're like, man, see, there you go, dude. That is Michael Myers' strength right there. I had to do black and white right there for a little bit because they've mentioned that to me. But yeah, you got it. There. Corey has one more. Oh, and the record kept skipping when the tongue went around. It would. Oh, that was so cool. All right, just a little bit. Let's cover that one. Cut off his tongue, and you're like, man, see, that he does have Michael Myers' strength because of that mask. And this is sort of like Bobster sort of stuff. Like, oh, we're sending you a message. Like, we're cutting your tongue off because of all the shit you talk or something like that. It was great. Beating his face a couple of times like that on the turntable actually swelled up that guy's face enough, cut off his tongue, and you're like, man, see, there you go, dude. That's Michael Myers. How the record's skipping. Corey has one more piece of business because he's got beef with Laurie as well. Because he wants Allison. And then, boom! It didn't quite work out for Corey because she saw him coming. Corey knows he just got his ass whooped right now, dude. He's got a couple of bullet holes in him. I think he's pretty much done. So what does he do? He just sort of self-destructs and stabs himself in the throat. And then Allison finds Laurie hanging over him with a knife. But come on, Allison, put the facts together, dude. He's in like mechanic over. All right, and here's another note, dude, because my smile kill count, they're like, you can't mention hurting yourself or suicide. So I was like, damn it, dude. How's everybody else getting away with it? So, yeah, overalls, wearing a Michael Myers mask. I wanted to do that because I wanted this video to be because he's like, cool, like get my mask back. And then Corey actually didn't quite die until Michael finishes him off. And you're like, oh man, I hope Corey actually carries the torch of Michael Myers, but he could still maybe come back, but not likely with that injury. Hey man, I think Corey can still come back because it's like, well, Michael got blown up in Halloween 2 and they just went, nah man, he's burnt. He'll be fine after a couple of years. And Dr. Loomis, they both got blown up and they came back. So Corey, just a little net break and the stabbing, I think whatever. Oh man, I wouldn't mind if they made another one. And here's the big old kitchen thing. Oh man, and stabbed him in his good hand. So now he's sort of pinned down, and Laurie's got the best of him right there. And then she took off Michael's mask. That's more for us because we're like, yeah, Laurie, we saw you do that in H2O when it wasn't him, but now you go, all right, dude, that's him for sure, not a paramedic. Then Michael rips his good hand actually like in half and still has enough grip strength with like a half flipper hand until Allison comes and saves the day and breaks it. Oh, John, if you haven't seen it yet, we're covering spoilers, my dude. Go do yourself a favor and get Peacock right now. It's on Peacock. I mean, everybody in my life has already seen Halloween Ends. If you were in my house the last like 2 3 days, you saw Halloween's Ends because it was constantly being played. But yeah, go get Peacock right now, and you get to watch Sunday Night Football as well. Oh, if you already see it, yeah, I guess spoiler alert. I put spoiler. Hey, what's up, Vince? Yeah,
His
I guess
arm because you're like,
spoiler
oh
alert.
man, they were so close to both dying in that moment, which we thought could be a
Ooh,
thing.
look at his
Then
head.
they chose to sort of bleed Michael from everywhere, make sure Michael sort of bleeds out, and there you go, dude. 44 years and after the original, and that's how he ends. I wonder what's going to happen to that Max. Allison goes, hey, he's not dead enough. You're like, not dead enough? Oh, you mean we gotta tie him to the roof of our car, drive him around town like a parade of, hey, look, we finally killed Michael Myers. Hey, mob, let's all get the whole town over to the junkyard and throw Michael's body into the car compactor. And Laurie finishes her book, and
Nice. Well, at least we can all agree on the ending, right? So, are you seen it? Yeah, I hope everyone's seen it already. Like, I still need to go see it again, probably in the theaters and everything. Yeah, I live down the street from like a IMAX. I wasn't just able to go to the theater, but you know, you got the studs pass, you could go whenever.
that's how Halloween ends.
Nice. So we all know. I guess
Enough
everybody's
grip
big
strength.
problem with the movie is the Corey character. Nobody has a problem after Laurie and Michael started fighting, right? Or people just like, it seems a little bit rushed. It
With like
seems
a
like
half
more
flipper
people
hand
like
until
it should have
Allison
gave it
comes
like more
and
time
saves the
for
day.
it. And another thing, when we're watching the
It
trailer,
wasn't him, but now
it didn't seem like it seemed better
he's
that
sort
he
of
walked up to the house and walked upstairs and he just happened to open the door and not the whole Lori calling in a suicide. Like, was that a big ruse? Was she just expecting Michael to come back? That he was secretly stalking her? Does she have like spider sense? I just did like that part of it. I was like, dude, that seemed better in the trailer. Like, we're going through the perspective of Michael Myers going up the stairs, opening that door, and having a gun in your face. Instead of her shooting a pumpkin, like, dude, she didn't really kill herself off screen.
pinned down, and oh, Lori's got the best of them right there.
Oh, boy.
And then she
He really messed him up, man. It was good enough torture. Yeah. she has a evil she has a evil sense. Yeah, so I don't know. There is some sort of like if Michael bumps into you, it rubs off or something that they have mentioned that in Lease and Kills. So I don't know. Maybe she just marked. And if you're marked, you sort of have a feeling that he, or if you looked him in the eye. I sort of like that too. Everyone's other big issue is
mother.
I like the whole thing where when Corey goes off, he goes off. And if you're wearing a Michael Myers and people go like it's Friday the 13th part 5, like Roy's going around killing everybody. And I remember when I was younger, I was always mad about that. Like, ah, man, that's a fake Jason. Like, big deal, dude. He's wearing a mask. That's Jason. Just like this is the same thing as Michael, but he's also super strong wearing that max. You know, like
Bullies
when he
in
killed that
one fall
DJ, that
swoop.
takes some strength to it.
I guess he went, you know what else bullies me? My mother.
And I like how he goes, like he goes visits his mom afterwards because she was very like overbearing up until then. But the other
Judge
big
actually
issue
sees
is,
him right
let's
there.
see, I think everyone likes the
Maybe he sort
graveyard
of
scene.
girl over there. I guess he didn't wear the scare being more like Mark.
Oh, and this thing. Is it like do you think Lori was there? Cuz I'm hearing it both ways. I'm hearing people going like, "Well, Laurie could have been there. She could have. I think, like, she pulled like a Batman. You think he was just looking over this way, and Laurie just sort of disappeared? I don't know about that. I think it was just in his head. Like people just disappear like out of nowhere. Sort of like Charlie and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You just sort of go like, yeah, Laurie's right. Oh shit, where'd you go? Like, oh man, you've gone insane. And I think that was the whole thing. Cause man, all you gotta do is Laurie, like if Laurie really wanted to set up Corey and Allison to break up, all you gotta do is like, your boyfriend's crazy. I think he's like spending the night inside the house where that kid died. Right? Or even watching it with my girl and a couple other women, they just go like, "Oh yeah, dude, Corey has a bunch of red flags. You should dump him." But I think also Allison's in her like mid 20s at this point, so they like a project and the bad boys and the drama that relationships bring on. But yeah, Laurie just gotta go like, dude, he's crazy. He's sleeping on the floor. This guy is broke. I think a girl would leave you more for being broke than crazy, right? She'd be like, "Oh man, I didn't know he was doing that bad."
Can
But
fear
to
like
me, I don't know if I think it was sort of like a
she
vision,
has meaning.
and I sort of like this speech too. It was, but it happened so far along in the movie. It was almost like a pacing thing. Like when I'm rewatching this, I go, "All right, dude, I want to hurry up and get to the kills already." And now we're taking another scene to acknowledge how crazy he is. Not that Laurie just snuck inside the house. After all, Allison has been through the should have seen the red flags. Instead, she still blames the grandma. Yeah, dude, when she's actually the Laurie's talking to Corey, it's sort of like that never works. Like, hey, I don't like him. You should break up with him. That drives them into their arms, right? If you really want to break him up, you're like, look how poor he is. He's not doing so well. Maybe that will work even better.
Now, like, oh man, he's going full on psycho, having the speech with Lee. Wrestles Michael.
Oh, and then the wrestling part. What y'all think about the wrestling part? Let's see. I think sort of Corey and Michael, they're sort of like wrestling, but it's almost like wrestling your father or something. He's like, all right, dude, I'll put up a fight. I'm not gonna throw fist or something, but or something. Yeah. I like how Jay said it on We Watched a Movie. They're just like, it's like wrestling your dad for the car keys. Like, Dad, give me the car. Yeah, it was cool. And I think maybe people are even saying like, "No, man, he allowed that to happen. Like he allowed Corey to out wrestle him a little bit in order to take his max to maybe track him because Michael was following him a bit, but it sort of goes against with Kills. Kills is like, Laurie, I don't give a shit about you, dude. I'm just trying to kill as many people as possible, and you were just in the way. So this part, I think, because even when he tries to put her hand inside a garbage disposal and everything, you just go like, he's not trying to really kill her. He's trying to maim her. If you go like in that route, that's almost like Terrifier. Like Terrify the Art the Clown sort of wants to torture you. He doesn't really want to kill you outright. He wants to torture you so bad.
Myers and takes his mask. I guess he didn't wear the scarecrow mask. He's like, give me that mask to me. And dude, that boy has some squabbles too. Like maybe he was on the wrestling team or something.
I don't know. I liked all those lines. And he was supposed to be pretty strong. And people are just like, well, if you want a I think like each entry had its own feel to it. So that's why I pretty much prefer Kills because it's like Kills crazy. That fireman fight and then him just killing the whole mob. Beautiful. The gore was great. There was a lot of good stabbings, and yeah, dude, thoroughly enjoyed it. Good movie and gory. I could have used a little bit more too. Like there is definitely some pitfalls to it. Like it's not it's probably yeah, it's not my favorite of the whole trilogy, but I would even say probably a good if I have to rank them, I'd probably go Kills, 2018, and then Ends. Like that's the way sort of makes sense to me. But I don't know, dude. I like it. I see a lot of people not liking it, and I'll fight them on it. I don't care, whatever. And it was a lot about Christine, but dude, that's cool, dude. Christine's one of John Carpenter's best movies. Let's see if this draft has a different
Halloween
picture.
ends. Kitten starts dating.
Uh, I have the same thing right there. Oh shit.
Michael didn't go.
I was trying to find this video file. I have it all just with the clips, but all I have is I have it a little bit separate. Ooh, yeah, you can't even play the soundtrack to that. Yeah, oh man, and he's still alive when he went, "Gah!" Oh my god. And beat him up pretty good. He got all swelled up. Like, dude, if you wear the Michael Myers mask, I think it gives you a bit of power as well. Because maybe that's why he got the mask. He didn't seem that powerful when he just had the scarecrow mask on. And I don't know, dude. I think, yeah, like he's like the Scarecrow mask doesn't really do it for me, but the Michael Myers mask actually seemed to give him that much strength. Because if that's Corey, he really messed that guy up good. And the fact that he got shot and fell down the stairway and everything. Oh, and it's just skipping. Nice. What and you know what I like about this radio station kill? It's sort of like I've seen like Dave McRae and I've seen a whole bunch of other YouTubers. They put full on videos about oh, how's the radio tower going to come into play into this? And they're like, oh man, they've had so many theories with the Shamrock Max or like the radio tower was some sort of beacon or something like that. And it ended up sort of being nothing. So it's like, damn, it's almost every time you make a YouTube video, something like that, like theories or predictions, wildly wrong a lot of the times. Like they were fun, but you know, I don't know. And we didn't get to see the Myers house because it got demolished. That was a thing. I was like, oh man, I just wanted one scene where it's like maybe Laurie burnt down the house or something like that. I would wanted to see them demolish that house. I was thinking like, oh man, or maybe Allison's gonna be like the new Laurie. They both seem to be over it, and I think people were upset about how Laurie got over it and was like almost back to normal. But come on, man. It's almost like after 40 years of being crazy and everyone telling you you're wrong, and then all of a sudden you're most definitely right when that guy breaks out of prison, you're like, yes. It's like you keep going to the doctor or something. And nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong. And then you're like, oh man, you've got something. You're like, I told you. You feel validated for that. You know what I'm talking about? That's how I feel about it. I think like that's why Lori got validated by Michael actually escaping. Like all your planning and all your other stuff was totally validated after he broke out. So after 2018, you should feel better about it. But I was also like, I even made a YouTube video like, where did Michael go all these 4 years? We never got an answer. I guess he was just hanging out in the sewer like Pennywise the Clown or a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or something like that. Oh, Vince, it's a gory movie. Yeah, it has its share of gore, but it could have went way more in the gore aspects. Like that's probably the goriest kill, the radio station one, and let's just say Michael dying was a gory kill, and oh, the blowtorch right to the mouth and everything was a gory kill. So there was a handful of them. But it's also like a busy month, like Terrifier 2. If you watch Terrifier 2, you go like, "Oh yeah, dude." Now you watch other gore movies, you're like, "Oh yeah, that wasn't that bad." Art the Clown literally like cuts you, brings like ammonia and salt and throws it on you. You're like, "Dude, that guy is gruesome." This is all because like this guy had it coming and everything. He was talking shit. So I don't know. I think the radio DJ kill was probably the best kill of the whole movie. Loved it. And the soundtrack was cool too, dude. We got the Cramps, Ed Dead Kennedys. Oh man, I loved it. Like that's something to definitely put in like your
Force with it.
playlist.
It's almost like
Dang, I'm trying to find my like raw file
gives
of
them
the
like some
kills.
super strength.
All right, let's see Corey's death. Oh man. Or people's like, why would you kill the person that was so? It's almost like he put him in like a vampire trance. So once he looked into his eyes, he sort of like transferred all his crazy. Or I think he took a little bit of power from him. That's why Michael seemed a little bit more weaker. Like he has enough of that shape supernatural power, and some of it is transferred to Corey. So I hope maybe I'm not against like this whole timeline continuing as Corey still being alive because it's like you put Michael inside a wood chipper. I thought you would do the same thing to Corey, right? Nice. And it almost sort of ripped it off. You're like, Gah! But you know how I feel about neck snaps. I go, come on, dude. How many times did Michael neck snap somebody? Something like Cameron, he got that neck snap, but it was done in like a different way. Like if you're gonna do a neck snap, do it in a and it's Corey. He's like the big baddie of he's the big bad psychopath. But he got shot, he stabbed himself in the throat, he was still sort of alive, and then just a neck snap put it a cherry on top. All right, what else do I got here? Yeah.
The junkyard.
Oh yeah, I remember. I'm watching it sort of right now in the background. And when those people came up to Lori, like, my sister doesn't have a voice. I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of my face with that, all right? Because it's sort of like she ate a bunch of shit from that stranger. And I get why that's the only part I was like, oh, yeah, that doesn't seem like the regular Lori at all. Because even in the beginning, she was sort of handing Corey like a switchblade knife. Like, all right, you want to put this in the tire? I was like, oh, yeah, that's the same Lori. But actually, to have someone talk shit to you, like, I don't know, man. Like, don't you put that evil on me? Because people were sort of saying like, "Hey, man, uh, why did you have to tease a guy with brain damage to actually kill all those people?" Like, what? I don't get that at all. Like, how are people blaming Lori for actually like, dude? She'd be like, "Hey, man, oh, you can't speak? Well, my daughter got killed. I don't care about your damn voice." And she's like, "You don't even know your neighbor's name." Like, no, I don't, dude. Our houses aren't even that close together. And it's like, dude, how she live? And that's sloppy on Michael's part. Like, all right, Michael sort of maimed her and lived. Like, he wasn't even trying to kill her. He just sort of like stabbed her in the throat. And she's that old. I don't know. I don't know. That was sort of weird. And they made sure she was there when they threw Michael inside the trash compactor. And people are like, why the hell didn't you show Lindsay there? Lindsay sort of survived for no reason too. It's like you thought it was going to be a bigger purpose or something. She just became like best buds with Laurie, and we didn't even see her at the very end. And so, yeah. Ooh, I love how they put the Dead Kennedy song in here too. I was like, oh, Allison loves Dead Kennedys too. Yes, marry her, dude. Hey, what's up, Ricardo? It's Halloween. Yeah, so I even put up a vote on those like Halloween ranking or Terrifier 2 live stream. And they're like neck and neck right now, like 48% each. So yeah, and my Terrifier 2 video is like crushing it, dude. I was like, yeah. Cause right now I think so many people have like a Halloween kill count out. Like I just go Halloween kill count, boom, you got a whole like I don't even know how you even rank that high on it. Same thing with like my Hellraiser. Like the watch time is good, but you know every and it's like you're never gonna be on time with it, especially the way how I make kill counts. Like I make a kill count. I would like it if I had like 3 days to sort of think about it, like when I was able to see Smile like on a Tuesday, I put the Smile kill count out on what Thursday night or Friday morning. So it's like I had like 3 days to be with it and still sort of be on time. So I would like to see movies more early. So because sometimes you come up with like a joke or something like that and then put it in like maybe like 2 days into it. Or sometimes you just write something better and it comes off better, it's not so rushed. I don't feel it like this Halloween ends kill count got rushed, but
Is actually owned by his step that
oh,
healing
and was
all
that
his
guy his
grudges and
stepdad or not? Because I was like, was that Corey's stepdad, the big old fat guy, or just his boss, or sort of both? I was a little bit confused on that. Or I think people more like, oh man, we want to join a stream where people are bashing Halloween ends. I don't bash too many movies. It's sort of like the only movie I really bashed was Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Because, dude, I don't even want to edit a video like that if I really don't like that movie all too much, Because then like even editing all this like Halloween end stuff, I feel like I watched it like 4 or 5 times already. Yeah, dude. And with Corey and Allison, you should have known all that craziness was going on in there. Like, it's a whole lot of red flags. What else about
you need
Halloween?
a 3 story.
And those band geeks, dude. Yeah, all right, let's start at the beginning. Killed number one. Let's say just with Corey and then I was like, all right, we're killing a kid right off the bat. Whoa. Shit. But it was an accident. I would like to know how the court handled it. I think they talked to the dad and all that. That part could have been cut out too. Like I think the main part is with that whole thing is when she saw Corey at the bar and you're like, oh shit. Like at that point, I'd be like, dude, you're at a bar too, drinking. She's drunk, but she's yelling at him about how you killed your son. I mean, dude, come on, dude. I have ex girlfriends and everything who live in the same city. I never bump into them, but it's also been like 3 or 4 years after that kid's death. Like, I don't know. I like it though. It's like a cool dramatic part, and it's also like I think they're trying to say like what makes a psychopath and stuff. So they're going like this is so much of a different spin on the slasher drama. It's like a slasher drama. I think at one point I said like it's like a romance slasher sort of movie because like think about it like Halloween Ends and Terrifier 2 are both considered slashers, but you watch both those movies back to back, totally different feels to it. Like you're watching Halloween Ends, that's like the horror movie you could watch with your family and everything. Terrifier 2 is like, oh yeah, this is very niche and ultra violent, and you better not watch this on like an upset stomach or something like that. So that's why it's like people are complaining, like, oh man, Halloween Ends wasn't that cool. It wasn't as crazy. I was like, dude, there's another slasher movie out right now in some theaters called Terrifier 2. And if you want crazy balls to the wall action and crazy kills, go to that one. Like, I think it's almost like a cool double feature. Like, oh man, that one's super crazy. And now let's get some like story into it. Because I even like kills had enough story in it where it's like even when there's not kills happening, you're like, oh man, I'm still sort of invested in it. So I still say probably kills is like my favorite sequel. And in preparation for watching Halloween Ends, I watched all the old ones. That I want to do like a good ranking on it. So it's sort of like watching Resurrection and then watch Halloween Ends. You go, oh yeah, the Halloween Ends is definitely better. But if you watch like the cream of the crop, you watch the best ones and then this one, it's gonna feel like a drop off. Like if you watch part one and then Halloween Ends, it's gonna feel like it's gonna feel very different. But I was even watching it with a couple of people. They didn't watch Halloween 2018 at all, and they didn't see kills, and they wanted to watch ends. So I was like, all right, but you should watch those other two movies because it makes even more sense. So it's definitely like people are saying, like, oh, it's not part of the trilogy, but you sort of do get it. Like Allison, her parents are dead. Uh, it's almost like you could watch 2018 and sort of skip over to ends. You could just be like, oh, you just need a refresher that he got locked in the basement and then like killed everybody. But this is gonna be like a neat rewatch in the future, like watch part one, two, and three together. And I don't know, dude. It's like I think youngins are really mad about it because, dude, I remember watching Halloween 6 in theaters, like watching all the old movies, going to watch Halloween 6 and go, oh, then this is cool, it's nice and violent and gory, and watching H2O and liking it but not loving it, and watching Resurrection, like, dude, this sucks. Like, dude, I remember that whole period because that actually set the whole franchise back where like I don't think they'll even make another Halloween movie until Rob Zombie's Halloween movie came like what 4 years later. So I don't think we're not going to have a Halloween movie for like 3 or 4 years because Michael's never had too long of a layoff, not like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, which has been over a decade. Michael's never been no decade without having a movie come out. It's sort of like saying Batman, like, oh man, no one said like, oh dude, why'd you kill off Batman? Or this is a neat story to do in Dark Knight Rises, but not now, Because everyone knows, like, all right, dude, after Michael gets killed, we'll do like a reboot or something. I know they already did a remake with Rob Zombie, but they could actually remake it again, and actually remake it as it just happened yesterday. Because even the remake it felt like older, but it didn't feel like it was that current, not like people had phones or just Rob Zombie shoots it in a weird way. But all right, let's go over the kills one more time.
Free house for just the three of you. Everybody.
Oh yeah, and it's actually they broke inside the. All right, let's just go through the whole thing. They broke into the house. Corey got locked inside the closet. He freaks out, and that's on you for having a 3-story mansion. I think it's like, well, we need 3 stories and a crazy sort of staircase because we need to believe that this kid dies after falling. Because 2 stories, I think you'll mess yourself up, but the kid wouldn't have like died. Like that's way high up there. And that's why that house was abandoned for that long of a time. Like, dude, you can move out of that house, but no one's gonna buy that rich ass mansion for a while. It's probably went unsold for a couple of years already. Or I get the feeling the parents sort of like broke up because, like, whenever a kid dies in an accident, I think most of the time the parents break up because it's like you blame each other for it, or you just sort of dissolve afterwards.
Everybody gets their own floor of the house. This messes up Corey.
All right, let's see. Yeah, and they were hyping up this guy like, oh, that radio DJ. Like that's where they first play it. And I think they just went, hey, let's add this DJ thing because it's sort of neat. Or maybe because I think the whole point of the DJ and the radio tower was to make sure the point that there is a different perspective. Like, oh man, Michael's actually the victim, and it's the society who drove him to it. So they're already coming up with their own conclusions for Michael. And I didn't count those suicides as deaths. Like Michael doesn't use a gun. So that's why Laurie was also sort of over it. So I guess like close to Halloween, they were, she was like Spider-Man or Batman, like listen to police scanners going around at night, seeing actually who which kills could be considered to be done by Michael. But just people get depressed during the holidays, kill themselves. Halloween's a holiday too, man. People kill themselves on Christmas and Thanksgiving all the time. So yeah, I get it. And then like Sore Lori's like, you know what, dude? I'm sort of done. I'm hanging it up. I'm old. I told everybody Michael was going to escape and he did, and I'm validated for it and I feel better. I totally get Lori's perspective on that. That's why she wasn't as crazy, but she's still sort of single. I remember everybody going like, "Did you see the wedding ring on Lori's finger? Like maybe she got married to Frank or something." I go, "Yeah, or Sheriff Hawkins, whatever." And you're like, "Yeah, why are they still flirting, dude? When you that old, just start going together. You don't need to do this whole a 4-year romantic dance." I thought they were actually almost going to hook up after kills because they had the hospital beds together. Like, so what are you doing after this? So Corey's actually getting picked on by everybody, and then the whole town sort of drove him. Like he was like a sort of nice, sweet kid. He went inside the fridge and got like instead of drinking a Heineken, he preferred chocolate milk. And even though like he went to the gas station, still got chocolate milk. So all this didn't drive him to drink anyway. Like he's a stronger kid than me, dude, because I was heavily drinking at that age. Especially if I would have killed somebody, I had to go to court and all that about it. But yeah, it's almost like I think maybe Michael saw the potential in him. So the bum actually said that Michael's been dragging people into the sewer and suspecting Michael was there. So yeah, I think Michael saw the potential and maybe even saw like in that little flashes, like, oh man, he's kicking it with Allison and stuff. Because it seems like this Michael does hold a grudge because he went after Lori specifically. Like this is his end to it. Like he looked into his eyes. I liked it. I think, and nobody has a problem with this so far. They just don't like how it was executed. It could be edited a little bit better. But yeah, he did stab a bum. And that was self defense, dude. That bum was getting inside his face. I remember Spooky Astronauts did like, why did he throw the knife and everything? You're going to get caught. But doesn't even make a difference, dude. He's going to be dead in a couple of days anyway. So, I don't know. Or he, like at that crime scene, he kept like putting his hands all over the sliding glass door. So they're definitely gonna know like Corey's been there. Oh yeah, and the whole thing like he has Michael's eyes. Like, mom, you say that about everybody. I like yeah, at this point too, I was like, there is a little bit of pacing there. Like, come on, dude, let's just get to it more. Because you did go kill Crazy Happy and kills, and then now you go to ends and you backpedal. So you're like, you can't really do successful sequels with less kills. But they sort of like got all the kills like back to back to back though. And him going into the sewer and actually finding him and leading Alex. And dude, what was up with this cop? This cop was like, he was like an old man. I was like, dude, Allison used to date this guy. Allison's pretty fine, dude, you know? So I don't see how that cop was dating her in the previous years. And all Allison's boyfriends died, right? That's sort of weird. It's almost like Adam's Family Values, where it's like, oh yeah, she had 5, 6 relationships. They all ended with mysterious deaths. Pretty much Allison, Cameron died, her cop ex-boyfriend died, and Corey. So I like this whole thing. That's such a cool shot too. They're going over the whole thing, and you see him, and it's almost like Michael. He's bringing victims for Michael, almost like a vampire. Feels very vampire-ish for me. Like he looked inside his eyes and actually got like, like in a trance. Yeah, and then he sort of powers up. I love that because that's good lore now. It's like, yes, yeah. Because they said that every time he kills, he transcends. So maybe he dragged some people in there and killed them, but he wasn't able to kill them that effectively, right? So I don't know. I like it how the more he kills, the more he transcends. Oh yeah, and they actually swerved us in the trailer. They were like, "Oh yeah," because at first I pre-edit like a sort of kill count, like what I usually do. But we saw the guy in the pool in the trailer, but they actually swerved us, like Marvel movied us a little bit because they added a lot of stuff to the trailer that ended up not being in the movie. Nothing as much as like the Hulk in Wakanda, like an Infinity War trailer or something like that. So I don't know. And people are bitching about the marketing to this movie. Like, well, they market it as the fight between Laurie and Mike. I mean, they do fight, it's like your main event. The undercard is the Corey fight, and then you get the main event that didn't last too long. It's almost like ordering, like doing that whole boxing reference, like ordering a Tyson fight and then knocks the guy out in like 2 rounds or something. Like, dude, I paid a pay per view for that. But it was fun when you watched it. Like I do like watching fights that ended a knockout. They're nice and fun and thrilling. So I don't know. Or some people just want a banger of a boxing match to go for like 12 rounds. So it just depends. And people go like, well, this is a cool story, but it's not a cool story to end on. Like, I don't know, man. Like there are 13 movies deep. And if you want to kill crazy frenzy, watch Terrifier or Halloween Kills or something like that. This was just something different. I like them actually trying something different. And it wasn't reinventing the wheel like Stephen King said, because it is the Christine sort of passing the torch, you know. But you didn't really pass it because he actually ended up killing Corey. So, but Candyman did it, and Candyman probably did it better as well, passing it on. And no one said that about Candyman either. Like, dude, we didn't get enough Tony Todd or Candyman on screen, and we did it. But the kills we got were pretty cool, you know? So And it's always a thing when and another thing, like Halloween 4 actually ended with Jamie on top of the stairs, and you're like, well, is Jamie gonna be the new killer? How's Michael gonna transfer his presence into another killer? You know, they actually did that with Halloween 6 as well. Like, oh, the curse passed on to the baby, or they passed it on to Loomis, and he got that weird thorn tattoo on his arm. So it was all like this whole franchise has always been trying to pass on the curse of Michael Myers to somebody else. And then this is the only movie they actually pulled it off and did it. Like Halloween 5 was such a kick in the pants because we're like, you watch Halloween 5, you're like, yes, Jamie's going to be the killer in this, and Michael's going to be around. They're going to sort of work together. How's that going to work? And they just reneged that whole thing. Like, no, she has amnesia and she can't speak, and they have a psychic link, but they just don't go anywhere with it. This, they actually have like, oh, he's in a trance, he's actually killing people in the name of Michael Myers, wearing the mask and stuff. It was cool. We all knew there was going to be a copycat killer in here. And no one minds a copycat killer if you do Scream, because Scream people are supposed to die, you know? So I don't know, man. People pick and choose what they like and what they dislike. And for casuals, I get it. Like people go like casual. That's why I'm saying people who don't like love Michael Myers movies, they're not gonna like this one. Or people say they're diehards. They go but diehards means you like certain ones, or you're down for whatever happens. You know, I'm down for whatever happens. I'm still gonna watch it. I'm still gonna go to the theaters and watch this one again. And I really even hope they do a sequel. I don't care what they do next. I'm totally down for it. I even heard of other stuff like Dave McCrae, like, oh, Michael was actually a bad presence in here. Like, you could have left Michael out of it. Like, what? Are you crazy? So you would prefer the movie if Michael wasn't in it at all? It was just all Corey the whole time. Like, that doesn't make sense. No. So I like he was in it and he was sort of weak. And people were like, well, why is he so weak? He's weak because, dude, did you see Halloween Kills? The town fucked him up. He got shot a couple of times by that guy in the Tiger Max. He got stabbed in the neck with a pitchfork. He got stabbed in the neck with a butcher knife with Karen. I mean, people are like, oh, he's supernatural, but they didn't have a problem when he popped back up and then killed everybody. But he seemed to pop up really strong. So I don't know, dude. You know, you can have it both ways. I like Michael super strong, like Jason 6 lives strong. But this is a different side. It reminds me of Dark Knight Rises. Like Dark Knight Rises, Batman was all sort of banged up. He had a bad knee. The years have worn down on him. And I don't know, dude, because the original plan for Halloween Ends was supposed to take place on the same night as Halloween 2018 and Kills. So who knows? Who knows what's how that first version of that movie, but 2019 happened and then they pivoted and did this instead. Maybe we could still get that other movie down the line. Who knows? But this is very cool. So you're like, if we get Corey in another movie, will he wear the scarecrow mask? And I was expecting another sort of jump scare at the very end of Halloween Ends. Like maybe we see the mask, like the mask was sitting on the coffee table. Maybe we see Corey sort of move or move his feet, or we get a thing like, oh man, Corey's still alive though. I mean, they did that on Halloween 4. So I would really like it. Like, dude, who knows? It maybe way down the line they just do the Halloween 4, but with Corey. So we're like, yeah, dude, the whole story of he's very badly damaged, but barely alive, but pops back up and then goes hunts down Allison. Perfect story. That's your straight up slasher story that we would probably want for Halloween. And you don't have to go through the whole thing of like, why is Michael Myers so old? Hey, what's up, Wayne? How's it going? Hope you saw Halloween Ends already. I see some polls of people haven't seen it already. I think they said it was supposed to make $50 million this weekend. It made like 43 or something, but it'll probably do well. Or Smile is actually like, dude, my top videos right now is Smile and Terrifier 2, and then maybe Halloween Ends. But those videos both took off like later. Like when I first put them out, they were like doing okay, but I think maybe the watch time was better on it, or the thumbnail was very clickable or something like that. And it grew like it kept growing day after day. And yeah, so there's a lot of tough competition out right now. Like, dude, Barbarian is still out in theaters. We have a lot of horror movies out right now. It is a really good time. Hey, Wayne, did you like it or did you dislike it? Because I totally understand how people don't like it. Yeah, because people saying they just wanted more Michael, and after watching Kills, we sort of got addicted to that style. It's like, oh man, I want to see him kill way more people this time around. Like, dude, you gotta raise the body count and everything. But I get it how they wanted to try something new and different and transfer it to somebody else. I don't know why he chose a scarecrow mask. That would be cool if he actually chose the actual Captain Kirk mask again, right? Or people are so sympathetic to Michael Myers. I'm surprised. In other sequels, people did dress up as Michael Myers. Like they teased that at Halloween 4 when there actually were like four Michael Myers. Like, holy shit. I remember watching that for the first time. Like, dude, that blew my mind. And they're like, oh, it's just kids. So they've always teased us that Michael is working along with a group of people like the Cult of Thorn. They actually broke him out of prison and everything. You're like, dude, it's cool if you only have one or two accomplices, but Colt went like, dude, he's got 20 accomplices. All right, well, sorry, we're getting right back on track, dude. So I heard spooky astronauts go like, you're leaving your blood all over the place. Like we're trying to root for him not to get caught. I think we all know, like, all right, dude, it's not going to work out for Corey in the long run if he's. And I think you could probably leave your blood and fingerprints behind, maybe. Or if, well, who knows, dude? I think he had gloves, but I think he just didn't care. He was crazy at that point because he did have that whole court trial. I'm pretty sure he got fingerprinted, and I don't think cops know to look for Corey. You know, because if you have no motive, I don't think cops will ever knock on your door. Watch the Dahmer series or something like that. How long did they take them to find Dahmer? He killed 12 people before they actually, and neighbors complain about him before they actually, like, oh, let's check it out. You had to have a survivor call the police and tell them, hey, man, this guy's crazy. I think he killed a lot of people. It was mid because it reminded me of Halloween 3. It's not. Yeah, and I hate Halloween 3. I'm sorry. Some people don't like it. I didn't like it at first. As a kid, I really hated it. But as I grew up, I was like, oh yeah, it's sort of cool. And then I think I rewatched it again, like, no, I still don't like it. But that movie did feel like Prince of Darkness or a different sort of, it doesn't belong in this universe. Yeah, so people like Halloween 3 and it has no Michael in it whatsoever. So, this gotta be better than that. Or people even go like, "Oh, it's the worst one out of all of them." Like, dude, have you seen Resurrection? Have you seen Part 5? That's why people like to prepare yourself for this movie, you should watch Resurrection. You should watch Part 5 and then go, "Oh yeah, yeah, this is better than that." And Corey was not really that strong as Michael was. I think when he wore the mask, let me see. When he wore the Michael Myers mask, I think it sort of gave him some powers because he seemed Like, dude, when he bashed that fool's head in at the radio DJ place, that was super strong, man. Like his whole face swelled up. Like you're not that strong to do it by yourself. So I think the Max might have gave him some like superhuman strength or something like that. And he was able to move quicker too. So you're like, oh yeah, that could be when he was killing all those people at the junkyard. He seemed like he moved like very swift. You're like, oh yeah, that's not a 65-year-old or anything like that. So it made me excited. Like, oh yeah, cool. We could definitely keep going with this Corey being Michael Myers. I'm down for it. Or if Corey continue, I'm down for a Halloween movie again where Corey is Michael from beginning to end. Like Michael is like dog food now. So I don't know. Chucky's been grinded up in a fan blade and everything. They stitched them together. So who knows? Or it could be like an afterlife thing or something like that. Mario, hey Mario, what's going on? Yeah, but right here, that was pretty cool. And he seemed to get his strength back. Like he picked her up one hand. So right here, I go, oh yeah, Michael is back. Michael is pretty strong at this point. Like he's not 100%. He's probably like 70% at that time. When we first met him in that store, he was like 20%. And I went over this earlier. People like, is Lori there or Lori not? And I go, I think she's not because it's just more being crazy. And with him wrestling Michael in the sewer, I'm like, okay. He wrestles him in the sewer, but Michael sort of allowed him to take his max. He didn't really get beaten up because they did do that kill, and he was pretty much full strength at that point. He carried that girl with one hand. I think he knew, like, all right, he's coming for me because he was just standing waiting there for him. And that's the only time we saw him nip up. And I think at this point, maybe they were sort of teasing the fact like we didn't know it was supposed to be Corey or this could have been Michael, but he was already walking so clean. You figure, and these are Corey's bullies. So I think at this point it could have been shot a little bit better. I would have liked to seen him wear the mask a little bit more. Like we could have saw him from the back of his head or something like that. Like to them, I think they're watching Michael Myers and thinking, dude, that's Michael Myers killing us right there, not knowing it's Corey until he took off his mask. On that blowtorch scene was pretty cool. And save that girl for last. Cause she was like the voice of reason. You're like, maybe he'll let her live, but no. And ran her over. So pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, and they just went back to back to back. So it was cool. And I'm wondering, it's sort of like the Max got burnt over in. I'm not buying the burnt Max. No, I might as well buy one of these, and you could do it yourself. Put some black shit on it and take off some hair. Or maybe I gotta check out like Spirit Hollywood Halloween and actually see like how much Michael Myers Max are. Yeah, so it was just back to back to back at that point. So I think you could cut out some stuff and make it a little bit tighter. Like, you know, we there's a couple of scenes that we don't really need. Like with I'd really people like Hawkins, and I'm still like when I saw Hawkins on screen, I was like, you're too old for her. I didn't really dig I didn't really dig it. I was like that could go. But yeah, that DJ kill was pretty cool. And we didn't really get to see Michael go up the stairs like we did in that trailer. The trailer really helped out. Like, oh, he walks up the stairs and opens the door and sees her right there instead of her like calling in like a suicide attempt and everything. And their fight was pretty cool. I think everybody could agree their fight was pretty on point. Like the whole choking and I think he was just trying to maim her at this point because I think he wasn't originally trying to hunt down Laurie. I think because that's why I was thinking with kills, they made it clear that he doesn't care about Laurie. But in this one, he sort of does. That's the only problem I got with that, you know? Because I was thinking Laurie's got to hunt him because he doesn't care about her at all. But I guess he likes Corey, and it was almost like Corey's plan. Corey was picking the people who to hunt down and kill. That's why it's like maybe it would have been better if he would have killed Laurie in 2018 or Kills. You know, think how much better Kills would have been if Laurie actually died in that one. Even though her and Michael didn't get into a face to face confrontation in that one. But another thing, people are like, dude, we saw him fight in the kitchen already. And that's true. We seen this already with it. So and another thing, like, well, he kills a whole crew of firemen, but he has trouble fighting Laurie. I get that point of view too, but sometimes you gotta take one movie at a time and not try to stitch it together all too well because the mob did mess him up pretty good in Halloween Kills. He was lucky to be alive. So if you go too supernatural with Michael, people complain, and you can't never go backwards from that again. But Superman does that shit, dude. Superman's strong at sometimes, and then he gets weakened with kryptonite. And if he's not in the sun, his powers start to wear off. There's all sorts of things with that. So he is a supernatural being. He was strong as shit at sometimes, and other times he's a little bit weakened. And he actually made a flipper out of his hand. I go, oh man, that must have hurt. And he went over the top with it and just sliced it like that. I was hoping he was just going to take the whole knife with him. Like you go over the top, but you don't, you just go up. You don't go, and rip your hand in two. But he did actually get like pinned down and yeah. And there's no like, oh, he's going to be in the morgue and he's going to come back to life or anything. No, this version of Michael is dead as hell. And just to bleed out that way too. So yeah, I like the ending. The ending's cool. Everyone just has a problem with everything that led up to it. And Corey, it's like, hey man, if we're going to a trash compactor, throw this Corey kid in there too. I don't need no murder case on my hands either. Yeah, and that was pretty much Halloween ends, and it's over. And like it's the end of this timeline. It's not the end of Michael Myers. James Bond died in the last James Bond. He's not dying. Batman died in Dark Knight Rises. Maybe. I thought they might do something like that, like maybe Michael's still alive. But they did take off his mask. It is the real Michael. They've they've done enough of him taking off the mask just to confirm his identity because we all know what happened in H2O when he got his head chopped off. But thanks for everybody for coming. Uh I gotta do a Terrifier 2 stream pretty soon. I gotta go see it again because I'm lucky enough a theater's actually playing it all week and all day. The first time I saw it, they only played Terrifier 2 like late at night or two showings a day or something like that. I live right down the street, a mile away from a movie theater who's playing Terrifier like 4 times a day or something. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll go see it again because I actually missed the post credit scene. Wouldn't that be dope if this had a post credit scene where Corey's still alive or something like that? Maybe they could still put that in the extended cut because it's almost like people get too married to this trilogy and it's got to end. Like I remember after John Wick 3, they're like, "Oh man, how are you gonna end on that note?" It's like I think they asked the director, like, who says we're gonna stop at 3? We're gonna keep going. But yeah, a lot of times 3 is the hardest one to pull off in a trilogy. Like, dude, there's a lot of examples of 3 being like one of the worst ones. Pretty much like, like I still like all 3 of them, but probably 3 is the lesser of Kills and 2018. But there's still stuff I like about it. I'll probably be rewatching this more because I always like to rewatch the newest one for a little bit until it gets older, until the next one comes out. But thanks everybody. I'll have another live stream up soon, or we're gonna do a whole Halloween franchise ranking. Or if there's more spoilers or stuff to go on, but dude, Terrifier's crushing it. I might see Smile again. God, like I think Smile comes out on let's see. Whenever I get more footage for Smile, because the more Smile content I make got all like blocked and everything because stuff regarding like suicides or like whatever. I still like that movie. I still like making content for it. So yeah, it seems like there's not so many more horror movies, big horror movie titles to come out for the rest of October. But thanks everybody for coming through and catch you dudes later. Later.